All right, I know this website looks familiar because we also do Star Math on this website. Just keep in mind that this is our primary AR website, so if you haven't seen that and it's beginning of quarter two, that's a bigger problem, what we got. But I wanted to make that connection for you on how I use Reading Renaissance and Tumblebooks intertwined together. And what I pull the reports on here help me decide what books and what questions I use for Tumblebooks. So the first thing I kind of look at is the reading assessments, and then we're going to go to the screening, progress monitoring, and intervention page. Then we're going to click progress monitoring. And then I'm going to click 4th grade because that is the grade level that I teach, and then view report. So you're going to notice how my students have 2 scores because quarter 1 is done. And then quarter 2 is the one that they just took for their star reading level. This kind of gives me the idea of where they would place on state testing or a benchmark testing based off of their reading ability on star. So as you can see, for this student, she went down, but for this student, he went up tremendously. And here's also their scaled scores. So out of a certain number scored, the student originally made a 666, and now he meets at a 976. So he is growing tremendously. We have a little bit of growth, or we have a little bit of decline. So I kind of look at this to analyze which students are doing well, and I'm pushing well enough in ELA with AR time and reading in my conferences, on which ones I need to focus a little more on in conferences. So this kind of helps me out some there. So we're going to go back to the home page, and I'm going to show you the other report I pulled. Now this report also, just like Star Math, does standards. So I use those standards to kind of help build my questions for their Tumblebooks and things like that. So we're going to go to reading assessments, then reports, then instructional planning and student, all classes leave the same, and view report. So for this first student, we can see coming up, we talked about how this first student, her score went down, but she's still projected to do pretty well and score high. So these are like her text, literacy text structures, her craft, range and complexity, what she would do in informational text. I mean, it has things covering all of it. So things I could work on with her in just books is fluency. That's what this first one is that she needs to do better in fluency, and she's only meeting at 3rd grade level. So working with her, having her read out aloud more to me, that allows me to use more Tumblebooks and have her read them, still reading on, her level for her ZPD, but still helping her grow. If I scroll down, maybe I want her to read me an informational text at one point, and I want her to kind of maybe give her some questions once I read the book first. I give her some questions, and she has to go back in the book and point out to me where she got them from. That's using text to support her answers in the informational text on questions I ask her. Also, things with charts and photographs and maps to kind of help her out. Cause and effect relationships. So having her choose books on Tumblebooks that look strictly at cause and effect relationships. I can ask her what's the cause, what the effect is, things like that. These are the standards I use, or requirements I use, however you want to look at it, that I try to pull from. So when I go to Tumblebooks, students can find books, and then I can ask them questions relating to them. Like here, she needs to work on sequencing or events and informational text. So having her pull the informational text, we read it, and then ask what's happened first, second, and to help improve these specific targets that she needs to. So this is the second report I use to help plan and help me choose what kind of questions I want to ask my students in Tumblebooks. So this is how Reading Renaissance and my reading assessments kind of relate to Tumblebooks and what I showed you last session. Let me know if you need any help, like comparing the two for your students or anything like that.